Welcome everybody to the fourth and last day of Fest of Fests hybrid webinars focusing on Generation Alpha. And it is our great honor to welcome today's moderator, Rafael Parra, who's an Associate Dean of the School of Media Studies and Associate Professor of Media Studies at the Graduate School of New School University in New York City. Rafael is a multiple Emmy Award winner editor with over 2 decades of experience in the film and television production and post-production industry. He has worked on all film and video genres, including fiction, documentary, news, and commercials. His work as an editor for Sesame Street has earned him 2 Emmy Awards for Best Multiple Camera Editing. Rafael is also a founder and president of the production company and post-production company Timeline Digital, based in New York, which was founded in 1997. Please give him a warm welcome, and thank you, Rafael, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you, Lena. And of course, many thanks to the Michael Cacoyannis Foundation, to Fest of Fests, and especially to Athena Rikaki for organizing this critical event that allows us to better understand Generation Alpha. Tonight's session is about children in crisis, as well as film festivals and other media organizations in Latin America and Africa. We will explore how different children's media organizations are playing a critical role today in helping Generation Alpha understand and cope with multiple crises, from geopolitical conflicts to economic crisis, to environmental issues and health problems. These organizations employ a range of strategies and tools to make those complex and critical issues accessible and manageable for children in general and Generation Alpha in particular. Our first guest is Esti Vardanashvili, Senior Director and Supervising Producer at Sesame Workshop. She is responsible for the creative development and production of Alan Sim Sim, an award-winning series of Sesame Workshop and the International Rescue Committee. This humanitarian initiative supports children and communities in crisis in Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and the wider Middle East and North Africa region. Welcome, Esti.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Rafa, for welcoming me and for this opportunity to share with everyone about what we do at Sesame Workshop, especially considering the crisis and children experiencing crisis today and in the past several years. I am going to try to share my screen, and hopefully that will be more interesting than just watching me speak. Let's hope this works. This wouldn't be an easy way of doing a webinar, right? When things are not set up. There we go. I think I got it. Share. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
All right. Fabulous. Let me go into a wider screen so this way you could also see and read what I'm sharing. And as this really session is focused on children and what we at Sesame Workshop are doing about this, I want to share a little bit about who we are at Sesame Workshop and why we're talking about the projects that we currently have in response to children affected by crisis. So some of you might know, but not everyone, but Sesame Workshop is a global impact nonprofit. We are based in New York, and we are the producers of Sesame Street and really so much more. As Rafa shared, I'm producing our series in various international countries around the globe, as are many of our other producers. And what we try to do is truly harness the power of education, media, and research to support the children. And currently, our programs and our productions are in over 150 countries around the world, trying to do our best to empower the generation, each generation, but currently especially the generation Alpha, to have a better world and to build a better world and be better leaders of the future. So kind of focusing on what we are talking about today, I mean, in the early childhood development arena and especially media production, we all know how crucial the early years in child's development are. And considering how many children currently worldwide are affected by crisis, how many millions of children are displaced for various reasons, whether it's natural disasters, other crises, wars that are exploding around them, we at Sesame Workshop try to really unite our programs and what we do best with the experts in the fields of education, media, and research to help really deliver on what our mission is and help at this early stages children as young as our viewers are, because they really do range from very, very young to almost teens sometimes, along with their caregivers, watching our series and hopefully benefiting from them. So one of the things that we've been doing in the past several years, especially I would say since the most recent crises that have been popping up really around the world, we've been looking at how can we use our content that we produce at Sesame Workshop with our partners and with our colleagues from around the world to address as quickly as possible the needs of children in the crisis modes, especially since the 2021 Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. That was really the first one when we realized how quickly we really need to address this and deploy the content that we have in a meaningful and palatable way, in a way that will help the caregivers who a lot of times are in the move in distress and really dealing with the day-to-day crisis, but at the same time trying to find those moments of joy and normalcy for their children or the children in their care. So since 2021, we've been trying to really build this model, which we're calling currently the rapid response model, and have already used it in Ukraine response, in Syria and Turkey earthquake, Sudan crisis, the earthquakes in Morocco and Afghanistan, Libya, and currently in the Israel-Gaza crisis. And what we have been learning is that there are stages of content creation and content deployment that we could be doing. And there are quite a few lessons learned that I'm hoping to share with you and hope that will be beneficial for those of you who are also creating content for children and caregivers in crisis. And some of those lessons learned are just really looking at what are some of the phases in sharing the content and creating that content. First and foremost, understanding who is using it, right? In crisis, there are just a lot of the times volunteers and aid workers who are not teachers, who are not educators, who are not media producers, that have to really create those moments of support and nurturing for children, as well as support for the caregivers. So in our experience in this most recent years, we've realized that creating really lightweight content, small selection of video content that could be easily played on a low-tech devices, some print materials that won't really give a lot of theory to the aid workers and caregivers, but rather be more practical, that they could right away use as something that we are really looking at and doing it as the first phase of sharing our content for children and for the caregivers who are dealing with children who are in crisis. And there are a few kind of universal needs that we've been hearing from the research as well as from the several years of sharing this material. And that's really trying to be there for whoever the audience is, right? For the children and for the caregivers, providing them with comfort and support, helping children find certain strategies or even watch certain content that will help them build resilience, improve their social emotional learning, especially considering how detrimental the trauma is, especially at the early ages, on their development. And being there with opportunities for learning for the caregivers with the materials that we're providing, but also for the parents to have a moment where they know their child is safe for a few minutes, just watching something where their mind can be taken off from the crisis that's erupting around them, and they can focus on something else. So as a case study, I want to share what we have done with the Welcome Sesame initiative in Ukraine. With the war starting, we right away looked at the materials that we had, looked at the content that we already had in Ukrainian and could be dubbed, and deployed that right away. And then as the second phase is where we started doing research right after the war had started, and hearing what do the parents and caregivers want for their children. And what we learned was that they really wanted opportunities for children to see something short, but connected to their identity, their heritage, and pride. So I'm gonna share a short video, and I hope it plays, that just kind of captures the 5 videos that we had produced in Ukraine during the war, in the first year of the war.
Could you put the volume up?
Thank you. I did not realize the volume was not playing. Let's hope that will work. Okay. Shows that it is. So sorry about that. Try going all the way up. I'm going to try it again, Rafael, if you could just let me know if it's playing. And if not, then we're just going to move on to me talking more.
We still can read the text and see the image.
Perfect.
So
there's no voiceover in this video. It's just music.
Okay, so we can just, you can play it. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you.
У нас англійські літери, а ось тут українські. Це ши. А, це ши. Українських вишиванок відображення вірової цінності та побут українського народу. Смачний аж банош. Ми ж йому самі його готували. І з чим? Який головний інгредієнт зі страви?
So we created these 5 videos as I mentioned, in Ukraine with a production company there. And what we really learned was that parents and caregivers wanted for children to see, again, as I mentioned earlier, the pride in their heritage, but also normalcy and nurturing. So each of the films, one is focused on dance, another focused on food, another focused on really being displaced in this beautiful place away from the war, but really still being affected about it. another one focused on literacy and letters and the Ukrainian alphabet and clothes. And it really resonated from what we've heard. And it led to another production that we have completed, which also led to a larger phase, which is the third phase in our rapid response, which is partnering with broadcasters, widening distribution in places where distribution is actually possible, and also partnering with various humanitarian organizations, facilitators, and caregivers. So we created a series of 5 short videos for caregivers or the parents, teachers, various aid workers and facilitators, focusing on such things as self-care, psychosocial support, social cohesion, and so on. And in each of these videos, we worked with local Ukrainian experts and global advisors in terms of how to support caregivers in the times of crisis. And we worked with families to ensure that they felt comfortable sharing their stories. They were properly representing and reflecting what the lived experiences of different people in Ukraine are. So if anybody's interested in seeing more, I'd be happy to share that with Fest and Fest with various links to those materials. And this have just deployed in Ukraine through the facilitated trainings that are happening in various cities with the support of the State Department and Windows in America in Ukraine. Another case study, which is quite a large initiative that started back in 2018, as Rafa mentioned, about Sesame workshops and international rescue committees, collaboration and partnership to respond to the needs of children dealing with the Syrian crisis. So in 2016, we created this partnership, and in 2018, so about 2 years or slightly less after that, MacArthur Foundation granted this audacious grant of $100 million to Sesame Workshop in partnership with IRC to create an initiative responding to families and children in the Syria response region. And that's really the Levant, focusing on the 4 countries, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq. And the initiative was for 5 years. We are actually finishing that particular initiative at the end of June of this year. And we've learned quite a lot, but what we started with was really the basics of what Sesame Workshop does. We started with reaching out to the experts, understanding what are the needs in the region. Shari Cole and her peers are on this panel. I'm just so honored to be with everyone there, but especially them, with Shari really guiding us through every single season as an advisor on the educational needs and curriculum creation. And we looked at all the information that we were able to gather, and then we understood that there are 3 areas that Sesame Workshop could be beneficial with. And one is the mass media, which I lead on production, direct services, which Sesame Workshop together with IRC has created, and IRC facilitates through the 4 regions, through 4 countries rather in the region, but then really expanded through the entire Middle East and North Africa region, and has been even more importantly in the most recent years and months addressing the different crises that are happening throughout the Middle East. And finally, looking at how we can really use what we've done, learn from it, and share with others, create advocacy movements, create more opportunities for humanitarian aid that is focused on children and early learning and education. As we know, the humanitarian aid is always limited, but it's really, really limited for children and learning. And so what we did on the production side was created a cast of characters that reflect as much as we could with the furry Muppets and animated characters, the lived experiences of children throughout the 4 countries of the focus countries, so to speak, for Ahlan Simsim. Children of different backgrounds, different abilities. We have characters that are nonverbal, representing those young children who are dealing with crisis but are not able to yet express themselves, as well as children who have been traumatized by the crisis and are not expressing themselves. as well as really beloved cast of trusted characters, so that the parents and the children, as they're watching Ahlan Simsim, as they are coming to the variety of our programs throughout the IRC's led and other partners led activities, could trust them. And so I'm going to really skim through this, but we are currently in the 10th season post-production right now, but we had 9 seasons that build on educational themes one by one, and really was Shari and our advisors from the region, our play and art therapist, child psychologists, early childhood development experts have guided us to build on it as a foundation for children's social emotional development, for comprehensive understanding of like what they are doing, what's their world like, and building pride in themselves and others, and being kind to each other, and really coping and building up hope and resilience in the crisis they're experiencing. So I'm just going to skip through all of this because there's a lot of content that we've created, and everybody's welcome to check us out on Ahlan Simsim YouTube channel, but also I'm happy to share more information where we could be found with our content, both in print and media, as well as expansion of our projects into Iraq and other territories. And if we have a minute, I'd love to share a short video. Rafa?
Yes, go ahead.
Fabulous. This is just
Jubi,
a little.
Can you hear me? Because we can't listen anything of your sound in the videos due to some settings.
Okay.
It would be much more easier if we played
the video from here.
There is no voiceover. It's just print on screen. But if you can play it on from your side, that would be great.
Yes, we can play from our side.
Thank you.
I will need you to stop sharing your screen so I can put on...
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
If there are any questions, by the way, I'm also happy to just respond in the chat or any follow-up while this is being set up.
Yeah. So while we are... oh, everything is ready? Yes. Okay. Can play there. Oh, Esti, while oh, is rebooting? While we get to play the video, Esti, in your experience, since you have been working on this area for so many years, and since it involved so many different countries and regions, etc., what could you say is the most pressing need, yes, that is common to all these communities, all these different communities? So what is that element that you will highlight as the need that needs to be covered really quickly?
I think, I mean, looking at all the different territories, what constantly comes up is creating a moment of nurturing. Nurturing in the sense that whether it's through what children are watching, or through what the facilitators are providing or the caregivers are able to provide, is that sense of nurturing and kindness and comfort that could be provided through video content. And that could be, you know, done in a variety of different ways, either through a simple, you know, short video. No. It could be a simple short video that just really shows a moment between an adult and a child, or between children experiencing something that is just, you would think, so simple, but yet so important in a children's development, whether it's meeting somebody for the first time or sharing about how they're feeling and not realizing even what they're feeling, but sitting there with that and trying to understand and label the emotion that they're experiencing, being there for each other. That's how I think nurturing comes through for us in our media.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we will skip this video. Yes. And then if there is something else, Esti, that you want to share with us?
I do. There's one thing that I was hoping the video would share and would be more interesting for you to all see and hear. But I do want to say that in the experience with the Ahlan Simsim, which was produced and launched in 2020 as the onset of COVID, we had to pivot a lot. And I think that's one of the important things for producers and content creators during the crisis modes, being able to pivot and understand what are the needs of your audiences and where are they able to get the content that you're creating. You know, we could create amazing content, but if it's not easily accessible to those who need it, then it's great, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So during COVID, we understood that we had this amazing library of content, and yet all the children who were supposed to be benefiting from them were sitting at home. And a lot of the times the homes were camps or displaced areas or tent situations where, you know, you didn't have all the access to different things. And so we created a response model where through WhatsApp messaging and through a host of facilitators together with the International Rescue Committee, we were able, through an 11-week program, provide content that really focused on learning through play, simple letters and numbers, just simple videos that could be seen by children, and messages to the adults who were sitting at home with those children and what they could do to help their child understand or develop. And we had been doing a lot of research, and that's part of also what we're hoping to share with the scalability and the advocacy of the third prong of our project. And we found that through those 11 weeks of this remote program, the gains in children's development were almost equal to a year in school. And this is for, preschool and early grades. And so that was really an aha moment for us, and allowed that to really understand that we can do much more with the content that we have if we're really targeting and understanding where our audiences are and how we can reach them. And so I'm just going to finish to say that to date, since we launched in 2020, Ahlan Simsim has reached over 27 million children in the Middle East and North Africa region. And we've reached over 3 million children through the direct services. And there's so much more, and the need just continues to grow more and more. And I think in every place, as producers of content for children in crisis, we can really team up more and do more to share and support with our expertise the children and families that are dealing with it in their daily lives. So.
Thank you, Steve, for this fantastic work.
Thank you.
Now, our next guest is Charlotte Cole. She is the founder and executive director of Blue Butterfly Collaborative. This is a nonprofit organization that uses children's media to advance international development goals in education and health. Dr. Cole will tell us about the innovative programs she's working on in Haiti. To give it some context, Haiti was the first country to gain independence from France in the Americas more than 200 years ago, and since then has been in a constant state of crisis with very difficult economic and political situation today. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to be here with my colleagues Esty and Brett, who I've worked with over the years for many more years than we probably all want to admit to. And thank you so much. We're so honored to be part of this. I do want to tell you about our work in Haiti. And so I'm going to try to share my screen. And just put up with me. Thank you. Okay, are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to begin by just telling you a little bit about Blue Butterfly. We are a nonprofit organization in the United States. We help producers all over the world produce high quality children's media that both entertains and teaches. We work primarily with producers in low income countries. And one of our biggest programs is in Haiti. These characters that you're seeing on the screen, that's Lily and Tilu. They're from a wonderful program we have in Haiti, done by an animation team in Haiti called La Cucajou. Did it advance to the next slide? Context?
Yes.
Okay, good. So just to tell you a little bit about the context in Haiti, I'm sure you've heard the news. Haiti is currently in a lot of turmoil, political unrest, and that coupled with natural disasters and a range of other elements has really disrupted children's learning for years now. In fact, sixth graders in Haiti have never had a full year of school. It's always been disrupted. You couple that as well with the lack of the limited resources that are available, the colonial history of Haiti that's really resulted in an education system that's very much didactic and really promotes a kind of learning that is not necessarily preparing children in the best way for life in their future. And so as a backdrop, then what we have been doing in Haiti is using this, our work, which we've been there for about 10 years now. And we now have 2 new programs that are based on the characters that you just saw, Lily and Tilu, who are from our Le Cucajou program. We have 2 new programs. One is a science learning program called Exploratorium, and another is called Cric Crac Haiti, which is a social studies program. And we're using these to bring children education in Creole, their home language, both in school settings, and because of the disruption in school, we're also providing it through distance learning programs on radio, through WhatsApp, in community centers, etc. So we bring our content to kids where they are. So I want to tell you a little, I want to give you a little introduction to some of our programming. It is audio content because we found in Haiti that video is not accessible for kids that are the ones in greatest need. So we've developed a program that is audio content. So I'm going to play for you. We use a lot of songs. I'm going to play you one of the songs, but what you're going to see on the screen is some images that match the lyrics of the song, just so that you can kind of understand what's going on. And there's also an English subtitle. So I'm going to play it for a second and you can let me know if you can hear it. Are you hearing that?
Yes, yes.
Oh, great.
Maman parle créole, Papa m parle créole. Quand moi parle créole, créole nan moi créole nan sang. Maman m parle créole, papa m parle créole. Quand moi parle créole, créole parle et créole comprendre. Penser en créole, chanter en créole. Moi jouer en créole, c'est dans la langue maman moi apprendre plus bien. Rêver en créole, m'écrit en créole. Sans pas hésiter à tant pile fierté, moi rêver en créole. Maman me parle créole, papa me parle créole. Quand moi parle créole, créole nan moi créole nan sang.
So that goes on, but you can see that children have really learned this song. It's gone viral, actually, both in an audio form and in video form. And I think part of the reason why it's really resonated is that the program speaks to one of the curriculum components of the program is really providing kids with a sense of their own culture and pride in their own culture. And part of that pride really centers around their own language. And so to have a song that's about their own language and singing in it has something that's really resonated with our audience. In terms of, you know, Esty had mentioned kind of the social emotional elements of children in crisis and providing media that really can help to reach that. And I think we also are trying to do that with our programs as well. And in the Creek Crack Social Studies program, we have, as well as audio, we have different books and other materials. This is an example of one of the books. It's called Sentiment. It's about emotions, and it features one of the characters, Josh, who you see here on the screen. And then the picture, the photo that you're seeing is a teacher who's reading the book to the kids. One of the things that's really great about this kind of way that we're bringing materials to kids is that we have these books that teachers are using, as you're seeing in this picture, but then we also have a way to deliver them. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little black and white version of the book. That is a printable version of the book that's printed on 8.5 by 11 pages in black and white. And those can be printed from our website, or we deliver them as printed copies. It's a very cheap way to deliver content. It's printed and then folded. And then the kids have a little book that's has the same content as the bigger color book. And then they also have something that they themselves can color. This has been really, really popular. It's something that we can do both for schools and in community situations. We're also working in a number of refugee situations in the Dominican Republic, in Mexico, and even with communities here in the United States. And these books, because they're relatively inexpensive, are something that's really taken hold. And then the content, which is really relevant to these kids, giving them a way to express their emotions, is something that's also works in with this idea of delivering important messages to kids, important learning to kids who are in crisis. So I mentioned we're working in communities as well as in schools. And so when we're working in schools, we do a lot of support of the teachers. The teachers, we're really trying to teach teachers a new way to teach. And it's really kind of flipping it from having the teacher be at the center of the learning to really flipping it so that students are at the center of the learning. And this requires a lot of professional development and working with teachers to help them see how they can engage their kids in the learning. So we provide a lot of materials. We provide lesson plans. We provide ongoing coaching where we're in classrooms and we're giving teachers direct feedback on how they're interacting with kids. And then we provide detailed lesson plans and guides. And you can see here's a picture of a teacher giving a high five to one of his students. And that's just the kind of thing that teachers are learning in terms of learning a new way to teach. So I'm going to I haven't really touched on really all the full range of what we do. That would take kind of more time than we have now. But I want to just leave you with the kids, because I think it's always a good thing for us to remember that this is about kids. And here's a classroom of kids. I mentioned we use a lot of song. Here's a classroom of kids who have learned a song about the 5 senses. And so what you're going to hear them talk about the senses, and then they'll count to 5. So we'll close with that video. So that's what I have. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Charlotte, for that presentation. We are a little bit behind in terms of time, so I'm going to move into our next guest. So our next section is we're going to turn our attention into a very critical issue, that is mental health of Generation Alpha and the alarming rise of suicide among young people. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Ángel García Crespo, an artificial intelligence expert in Spain with over 3 decades of experience in multinational companies, currently a senior academic at the University Carlos III of Madrid. Dr. Crespo is dedicated to developing technologies that improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. He has developed a new approach called transmedia fiction to help prevent adolescents' suicide. Joining him is his colleague and collaborator, Dr. Maria Victoria Diaz, who will be presenting their work. Welcome both.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Rafael, and thank you, Angel, and thank you to the festival, first of all, for inviting us to discuss and to bring to the table this sensitive and important problem that we are facing around the world. To understand the magnitude of the problem, I'm going to bring some data, some information that I have here with me, numbers that talk by themselves. So according to the World Health Organization, suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among our children between 15 and 19 years old. And in the United States, it's the 2nd leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 24. This is according to the CDC, and in Spain specifically, in 2021, we had 317 suicides of young children among 15 and 19 years old. So what we can do? So our invitation today is to use transmedia and fiction as a tool to help teenagers exploring and understanding their emotions and experiences in a meaningful way. Why our children in crisis goes to suicide? So the reasons can lead those children to suicide. We need to just address them. That's the invitation that we have today. Bullying, loss of self-esteem must be addressed. Our audience today is involved in transmedia projects, and fiction has the power to influence in education, in emotional development of those children. Stories, doesn't matter if they're comic books or movies, on television series, on games, just transport us to a different world and present us with new ideas and have the potential to teach us valuable life lessons. This is especially effective for teenagers who are at the critical stage forming their identity and understanding the world. So we're using fiction to highlight important values. And we can see that transmedia responds specifically to the basis of universal designs for learning. We can see multiple and different formats and different ways to communicate. And that way, if the teenager prefers video over books or books over the audios, we can just communicate with them and try to use these multiple formats, multiple bridges to communicate with them. This specific project used 2 different stories already created. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna try to do this. Share sound here. Please let me know if you are. I guess that you are seeing my screen.
Yes, we see the screen.
I'm gonna try to do this like a presentation mode. Can you see my screen? No, I don't think so.
There you go.
What are you seeing? Just one slide or multiple slides?
Multiple slides.
Like this. Okay. This is, okay, 2 different stories. The first story is about that girl, Ricky. Good times are waiting for you is the title of that story. And in that story, we present bullying, academic pressure, existential crisis, and self-esteem. Basically, it's a book. It's a book. And you can find in 4 different like episodes, 4 different chapters, big chapters of the book, and how she is going through every single experience. And at the end of each chapter, you're gonna find like strategies on how to handle those issues. The book comes with a guideline for teachers on how to handle the story. So good times are waiting for you. It is the main character. It's a girl, and then we have the next story. Let me show the dreams we dare to dream, and specifically, it's a boy facing different challenges, traumatic disappointment. Their parents are divorced. What he likes to do in life is not what other children or other teenagers are doing. So this social pressure for just follow the models, other models, and how these characters are facing specifically their challenges, and how we can show them a different way to handle them. Different formats, as I was mentioning, using universal design for learning. The books are already written, and then we have music format and audio format. It is a series of 4 different episodes. Specifically, it's a musical combining songs and dialogues to talk and communicate in a different way. And we are seeking funding for the video format, but specifically every single story based on the novel. So we can see how fiction can help us and help us to communicate, specifically to communicate with this audience. Seeing Ricky, how she navigates through mysteries, and see them successfully become better handling their emotions. Like that's the goal of the project. I don't know if you want to add something else, Angel. I don't know how we are on time. If we can share maybe like a little clip to see Ricky and to have a sense of the musical and the result that we are inviting.
Yes, maybe we can play the first minute of the clip, because I saw the clip before and it's about 3 minutes. So if we can play the first minute, that will be great.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, let me just go click here. Are you hearing that?
Yeah.
Yes, we can listen to the sound,
Okay.
yes.
Shadows always follows the light. After it rained comes the sun stood brave through the storm. And today you're so strong. I am a lighthouse showing the way steadfast I stand. No matter how tough times get. We have fought with strength and with might, never give up. So many songs unwritten, they're born from this pain, let's write them out. Though this path is uphill, find relief when you reach the top. Yeah, and I know one day that things will look up. We'll build a life full of peace and fresh air. As we walk hand in hand, our future becomes very clear. Good times are waiting for you.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Maria Victoria, for sharing with us all your research. Maria Victoria, do you want to go ahead and express your
Yeah, so
conclusions?
basically that's what we wanted to briefly share. So you can use fiction as a powerful tool, and we really like this approach. Work in the prevention, work in developing, in engaging them in a different way, and it is better to prevent, to work with the reasons and the causes. So please contact us if you have some question, or if you wanna use the resources, they are already there. So the musical is gonna be ready for the third quarter of this year. We are hoping to launch the musical. The books are ready to distribute. And so just please let us know if you have some interest in that. And there's always tomorrow. That's the conclusion that we want to share. And I don't know if you have some questions, or if you want us to do more in detail, but I think that is for the time that we had. It's all that we wanted to share today.
Thank you. We now go to the United States with Brett Pierce. Brett is the founder and executive director of Meridian Stories, a digital storytelling non-profit for middle and high schoolers that challenges students to create digital narrative around curricular goals. Brett recently authored his first book, Expanding Literacy, Bringing Digital Storytelling into Your Classroom. Brett, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's a real privilege to be here. And I'll be quick because I know time is kind of short right now. The three models that you've heard from the previous panelists, including my esteemed colleagues, Esty and Charlotte, are about kind of top-down storytelling. So it's people like ourselves who are trained in curriculum-driven storytelling. You know, you get a curriculum and then you create an engaging story around it. And that's what we just heard from Maria Victoria as well, just kind of, you know, create this incredibly fictional story. But I would suggest that, and that's an incredibly viable model and valuable model, and it's something that I continue to practice. But the times are changing. I'd like to share my screen because it's no longer the only model. And if I can do that, you guys seeing that?
Yes, we could see.
Okay, great. We'll just kind of, I'm not even going to try to get fancy with it. And this, so that's the top-down model. That's traditional. We get all of our stories through newspapers and television and radio and magazines and stuff. But now we have what's called a participatory culture. And this was a phrase that was coined by Henry Jenkins back in 2006. He's a communications professor here in the United States. And he writes, the new media literacies should be seen as social skills, as ways of interacting within a larger community and not simply an individualized skill to be used for personal expression. So there's this new literacy out there, and it's all about the voice coming up. And we know about this. This is what social media is about. This is, we've been living this for the past decade at the very least. And the difference between, the traditional literacy and this new literacy is how social it is. And here's what we're talking about, okay? You've got traditional text-based literacy. You've got audio and podcasting and Spotify and community radio. You've got texting and emojis, which is really just talking as writing, okay? Text, WhatsApp, Viber, dating apps. You've got short videos on YouTube, TikTok, obviously, Vimeo. And then you have call and response literacies, where you kind of put things out there and you want people to comment and like them and go on and respond to them, both from their heart and from their head. And if you look at this list of 5 bullets, this is where youth are. And I'm talking about the upper end of the alpha generation that we're talking about. This is the digital universe. It's their library. It's their communication platform. It's their social life. It's their source of knowledge. It's their language. It's everything. And so my focus for this brief presentation is I have information, I have knowledge, just like my other panelists, about how to tell a meaningful and impactful and deeply engaging story. And so I want to take that knowledge and give it to my target audience, okay, so that they can do the same thing, because now they have a platform. When we all began this, or when I began this, okay, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't have a platform. The platform was strictly the broadcaster, okay, or the publisher. But now they do have a platform. And so I'm kind of focused on the writing part of that, the digital storytelling part of that. And digital storytelling is simply the capacity to communicate using text, sound, music, and imagery, still and moving. So the crisis of youth, whatever the topic is, whether it's about social emotional learning or about mental health, to me, part of the solution is, yes, still storytelling from top down, but give them the tools to tell stories from the bottom up. And that's a shift in focus from outcomes, which is very much what Essi's talking about and what Shari's talking about, is, here are the stories, the final stories that a lot of incredibly smart people have kind of put together to put out there to get people to think differently. And what I'm talking about here, in addition to that model, this model over here is more about process. It's more about getting kids to start thinking for themselves about the story they want to tell, what is their voice, how many decisions do they need to make to get out something that has meaning, something that reflects them, something that has impact on the audience around them. And I've got 2 short videos. So in my company, which is a very small nonprofit called Meridian Stories, we offer these challenges to middle schoolers and high schoolers. And I'm trying to get it down to elementary school, because this process should begin much younger than where I'm focused. And we give these challenges to kind of create a story, around, your understanding of your use of water in your community, or create a story around a fictional character that you're reading about and studying, or about a historical figure. And I'd like to just share 2 quick videos. They're each a minute long. That's a result of this. And this particular challenge is called the 6-word micro memoir. And it basically says, get 3 kids together. Each one creates a memoir of themselves in just 6 words. Okay, and then they need to create a memoir of the 3 of them together. And I want to play 2 different versions of this. And I'm not, whether sound works or not, it doesn't matter because it's all kind of visual and there's print on screen. And then a second version of that. If you look at those, just think of these kids had to choose their own words. They had to choose a visualization of those words. They had to choose how their faces appeared, what they were dressed in, shooting on location. It's a million decisions. So giving the power of story that we work so hard at from above in the other examples you've seen, and give it to the audience, give them the tools to figure out how to tell an impactful, meaningful, personal, but cohesive story is an incredibly powerful experience. And yes, this is about outcome, these stories that you just witnessed, but it's also mostly about process. It's about all the things that they have to go through to get there. And that's what we're all after in this particular panel, is kind of making sure that our audience is thinking reflectively, thoughtfully, and proactively about the topics that we are presenting. And I've had the fortune of kind of combining both of these in a project I'm working on with Dr. Charlotte Cole right now as well, where we are creating a story-driven game show in the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. So it's taking stories from everybody in the community and then broadcasting them out and also turning them into a game. And this is all about kind of entrepreneurialism and the growth mindset and kind of the basics, the pathway to economic self-reliance. So I feel lucky that I've been able to kind of combine this top-down and bottom-up experiences. But that is my presentation, and I will stop sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brett. Fantastic. This concludes our first part of tonight's presenters. So now we're going to move into Latin American Film Festivals media organizations. So our first presenter in this second part is Firdaus Bulbulia, a director, producer, writer, and educator. She creates media solutions especially for women and children. Firdaus is the chairperson for the Children's and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa. In addition, she is the co-founder of ABC, Africa Best Channel, a children and youth television channel in Nigeria, as well as the African Animation Studio that focuses on creating Pan-African animations. She served 2 mandates as president of the International Center of Films for Children and Young People. She has produced 6 feature films and is currently producing a legacy project on former President Nelson Mandela, Mandela's Africa. She is the festival director of the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. Welcome, Firdaus.
Thank you so much, and it's wonderful to be here. I was trying to Google to find out how I share my screen. I'm on the Zoom app. So if somebody can help me, because when I go to the bottom, I just see more, and then I see record. So I'm not quite sure. In settings, is anybody able to share?
In your bottom line where you can open and your
You should
camera and your
see
microphone.
a button that says share.
To the microphone, yes?
On the right,
No,
you can see green.
At the bottom,
Yes.
do you see a green button that says share?
I don't, and that's where I was having a problem. So it says leave computer, audio options, test microphone. I probably have an old setting because I'm using the Zoom app and not the general Zoom platform, not the classical Zoom. So I know there was somebody talking to me from the Fest side. Are you there?
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
So on your bottom, on the bottom of your screen, you're supposed to see a line with several tools. On your more option, you said that you see only the record.
Yes, I don't see anything for screen sharing, unfortunately.
Okay.
It could be my app might be a bit old because I wanted to share the screen with a little video.
Okay. We don't.
And
have
I couldn't.
video.
I wanted to send the video, but it's too heavy, so I couldn't send it. I've also sent just a one-pager to the team there. If somebody could open that page, it just says a one page of the WASI slide.
Yes, you can send it on chat, and we can put it through our computer.
Chat maybe. Let me see. Now it's not even showing me the chat set. Okay, I'm going to have to just swing it. Thank you so much for this time and for inviting me to be part of this conversation. As you already said, I chair the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa and work in the area of children and youth media in Africa, in South Africa. And we hosted the 5th World Summit on Media for Children in 2007. So our work really spans around ensuring quality media for African children, and then we say for global children. One of the most important is for us is the Africa Charter on Children's Broadcasting, and Article 4 of that charter that says children should hear, see, and express themselves, their languages, and their life's experiences through the electronic media that reaffirms their sense of self, community, and place. This is an important charter for us and an article because we come out of an historical South Africa, which was apartheid. We are now celebrating 30 years of democracy, and we've just gone into elections on the 29th of May. So it's all a very exciting period for us generally in South Africa. Because of that, we really had to work very hard to ensure that children in Africa, in South Africa in particular, were offered content that would be relevant to them. For most of the years growing up, my daughter, who is now 36, had to be exposed to mainly content that was not necessarily relevant to her worldview, her experience. And if I talk about her as a middle kind of income child, if I think of children in rural communities and children really on the margins where language is a big concern, they would have only got television in 2 languages. And that at that time would have been English and Afrikaans. So it is important for us really to look at how we had to shift and the work that had to be done. Coming to current day, we host the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. It started in 2018 as a direct result of Nelson Mandela's centenary. He was 100 years, and the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund asked us if we could do something in collaboration, and the best thing I could suggest to them was to look at a children's film festival. I think, as we have heard from everybody else, that it is through the medium of film, of content, of media, that we are able to say much more than in words. And in an edutainment way, which is education and entertainment, we are able to connect with children in a different way. So the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, we host again this year between the 16th and 18th of June, where we bring in international partners who work with the young people in our context, but we also ensure that there is local participation and local voices, because it is important to empower local people and local communities. This year, we will celebrate two stalwarts in our South African context, Nadia Bulbulia and Janet de Kretzer, who have been really pushing the boundaries in terms of ensuring, even through policy, that children's media is on the national agenda, also for us on the Pan-African agenda. The charter that I just mentioned was signed by every single broadcaster in Africa, which means that African broadcasters now have a responsibility to show quality media for African children. This is a huge constraint. It's a huge challenge, because in many countries, as you may know, and I'm so happy to see you talking about Kenya, where I think the development of children's content is probably better than in some other African countries, but you still have a scenario where people are not producing local content for their young people. Content is basically coming out from everywhere else, and sometimes not relevant for the community. So to be able to work with communities, with local communities, to have children's voices is really, really important for us. With the festival this year, we will bring in Sohair Abdelkader from Egypt. She runs a festival called the Auladna Film Festival, which is a festival for the gifted. The gifted in this case is people with disabilities. So this is from 4 to 40-year-olds. And it's not just a film festival, it's an arts festival. So people doing the performing arts, the creative arts, there's dance and music and culture and crafts, and also film. So in the way in which we use the creative industries to talk about really important events in the child's life. I really enjoyed this last presentation where you are taking 6 words and creating a memoir. I'm going to copy that, I should tell you, because it's an excellent idea. But really, how do children articulate their story in the most appropriate way? This was really a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Coming back to us for COVID, during COVID, we created Wazi's Wonderful World. The idea really was that Wazi was this little girl child who was tumbling out of bed. And I'm so sorry that I can't show you any of these visuals, but I can send links eventually. And as she tumbles out of bed, she rushes to the window to discover the world, and she's told to stay at home because it was COVID. And we understood that children in our parts of the world are never really spoken to. Big issues happen and nobody talks to them. It's almost as if, children should be seen and not heard. And even in seeing, we're not sharing. So what we did in South Africa was to ensure that through Wazi, we were explaining to young children what the COVID pandemic was about. And I heard earlier on about, especially with the Sesame Street example of the WhatsApps. That's what we did. We used WhatsApp into schools and shared these little animations. So in most of the schools, there's a connection between the school teacher and the parents of the children through WhatsApp. So we could visually send videos on WhatsApp, and the parents could show it to their children, and they could interact and have conversations and send back to us. At that time, if you recall, kids were having to wash their hands and sing a song, happy birthday, whatever it was, to show how many seconds they were washing their hands. And this we then re-imported into our documentaries, into our little animations. And so it was very localized in that children could tell their stories and see themselves washing their hands, singing along. The videos did really well and went through the Asia Institute of Broadcasting, and in fact was shown in China, in Japan, in India. So it went through a really wonderful process of being shared globally. And I think that's really what we want. in terms of the issues we raised today is to see how do we connect globally? How are we talking to children in other parts of the world? And this brings me to something really important as we talk. I would like to share with you, which many of you must have heard over the years, over this period, over the last few weeks, as we look at what is happening in the Middle East right now. The title of that poem is Write My Name. Write my name on my leg, Mama. Use the black permanent marker with the ink that doesn't bleed if it gets wet. The one that doesn't melt if it's exposed to heat. Write my name on my leg, Mama. Make the lines thick and clear. Add your special flourishes so that I can take comfort in seeing my mama's handwriting when I go to sleep. Write my name on my leg, Mama, and on the legs of my sisters and brothers. This way we will belong together. This way we will be known as your children. Write my name on my leg, Mama, and please write your name and Baba's name on your legs too, so we will be remembered as a family. Write my name on my leg, Mama. Don't add any numbers, like when I was born or the address of our home. I don't want the world to list me as a number. I have a name, and I'm not a number. Write my name on my leg, Mama. When the bomb hits our house, when the walls crush our skulls and bones, our legs will tell our story, how there was nowhere for us to run. Zaina Azam. And I think it is this lyrical, poetic prose that should be what links us and links the stories of all of our children, to make sure that as we see what is happening on our screens at the moment, that we take a moment to reflect, that we tell our children how to deal with war and strife and genocide, and that hopefully through this connection of sharing, which you all have done so gracefully and in such a special way, that we continue to do that, that we continue to share both the beauty and the challenges, because we as adults have a responsibility to the children of the world, to the children where you come from and the children where I come from, so that we see that in this connectedness of media for children, that we find the voices for all of our children, the images that we want to be left with, that as we talk of mental health, we are concerned about the mental health of the children who have absolutely no access, who have no opportunity, who cannot sit with us as we sit here today and share the wonders of what we all have as adults, as media professionals and friends, in a space that is sacred, in a space that is cohesive, in a space where we all together feel supported. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for the sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for those for so eloquently presenting your views. Now, please join me in welcoming Lisette Cotera from Mexico. Lisette has a degree in social communications, and she is the founder and artistic director of the International Film Festival for Children, La Matatena. This is one of the oldest children's film festivals in Latin America. Welcome, Lisette.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you so much for this kind invitation to take part in Fest to Fest. And thank you for giving me the chance to share about the 29 years to make the Children's Film Festival here in Mexico. My name is Lisette Cotera. I'm the founder and director of the Festival Internacional de Cine para Niños y No Tan Niños in Mexico City. And I'm also a proud member of CIFESH long time ago. Thanks to CIFESH, I've been introduced on this beautiful part to know about cinema for children. So I want to let you know that long time ago I started to be a member of CIFESH, very active. very lovely for me and a lot of passion to have the opportunity, the chance to create a place that I'm always say that the festival is like that, to put the kids on a hill and they can jump and they could see all around how vast is the world. And the festival, what we wanted to show is that it's important that the looks of the kids don't be tied. They could be open. They deserve, and it's a cultural right to have good information, but also to be introduced a good quality films. The festival is preparing the 29th edition, and at this moment, we have like 26,000, 40 audience they come, they attend our festival. Always is in summer holidays. Our next edition is preparing from 6 until 11 August. And what we used to do is to create a place that the kids could have an option. We screen in 5 categories: feature films, short animation, live action, documentaries. And also we have a category that films made by kids. I prepare, give me the chance to share with you, and perhaps while I'm talking with you, I will put a video that you could see some, how it's working the festival here in my country. Waiting for a while.
Corre, libre tu butaca.
¡Córrele! Al 28 Festival Internacional de Cine
Para niños y no tan niños. Córrele de los del 13 de agosto. Apresúrate y consulta cartelera.
Pero córrele para que digamos
¡Corre, película! ¡Corre, corre, corre! ¡Corre, corre, corre! ¡Corre, corre, corre! ¡Córrele!
I will put very low the audio, and then I can still sharing with you what we do during the festival. The festival is on summer holidays, different than many children film festival around the world that they work with the school. In our case, we started on summer holidays. So our festival creates, from multiple weeks, long time ago, and nowadays it's very well known. Many kids can come and attend with their parents, screening, and also we have the participation of a jury, and also they need given an award. Everything. During the festival, we have the guests, we have master class, we had a chance to make some workshop of this, and at the end also we present things many times. Let's talk a little bit.
Lisette, could you lower the volume of the music? Because it's difficult to hear your voice.
Yes, is much better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So well, I'm talking about the festival, and what it is really nice is that nowadays we have a very good followers. And I feel that the festival is been very well done, and I feel that we attend a lot the views of the kids. When we have 4 years, when we started this project, when we have in the fourth edition of the festival, we started to think about not to do it just a festival year by year, only during August. We started to create methodologies and to think about how we could impulse the kids, their participation, and started to create the seed, to be interested in cinema, to create a cultural cinema with them, and to start to create some different workshops to impulse them. So then we create La Matatena, who is, and I will stop a little bit now the video. We create La Matatena, and La Matatena started to impulse the kids to make their own animation. So now what I could share is that we are this year with our 25th anniversary, we have an archive of 180 films made by the kids. And we have a methodologist to work with them for 8 Saturdays, and to create a place that I feel it's a place that the children can feel it in confidence. They have a chance to create a collective story. And I prepare a little trailer about some stills about what, and I will do the same. I will put the trailer, and then I will start talking about the job of La Matatena. Waiting for a while.
Oh, all right.
Wait. Here it is.
All right.
Well, I was talking about La Matatena, and during the year, La Matatena made some workshop in animation with kids. Most of them, our archive is 180 films made by the kids in Mexico. I used to say that it's an archive very important because it's many of the kids who been in those workshops now, they are adults. They also started to come with their kids, and also we used to make intervention also in public school in vulnerable places. The experience is wonderful. I feel that it's not just to make an animation. It is more than, I think it's very deeply the process to work with them, because in this case, I feel it that the kids we can support their identities with the festival, and also doing their films. We could build a place of confidence. We impulse a lot the participation of them, telling them how important it is that they could create their own contents. They're learning also to reach, to be more conscious, to getting to know the nooks and crannies of cinema, but also, to use the language of cinema, and they can put their plastic and their ideas, and when they saw it in the big screen, because after we made our workshop, they have later on a big screening at Cineteca Nacional here in Mexico, a very wonderful place. They could invite their parents, their friends, and they could see their films on the big screen, and also they feel it very proud. They started to say that now they understand how big effort and how many work are behind to do it an audiovisual content. So La Matatena have the festival. La Matatena La Matatena organized the festival. The seed of our project was the festival at the beginning, and later on we started to make the workshop, and we are very happy at this moment to celebrate the 25th anniversary of so many films, very beautiful films with very beautiful message made by the kids. And we are very proud about that. And also, as I told you, we are preparing our 39th edition here in Mexico and we are working and to see us again in the next year for 3 decades, 30 years to create this space, este espacio that really it's always so exciting to work 10 months and come to for 6 days to enjoy the best films from all around the world. So everybody is invited. I'm really, really happy to be here. And I hope I could share what we do it here in Mexico. And for the end, I have a very little trailer about the films that we used to screen on the festival, con un enfoque de derechos. As you know, we trying to select films to talk about the rights of the kids, diversity, giving them tools to being strong. The cinema is very important it's very important that the kids saw it quality films because it's empower them, and also they can understand that they are not alone in their lives, and they can see it and recognizing in the screening between their peers. So I'm closing now with this trailer. If you give me the chance to, if I have time, and thank you so much for this presentation.
Of course.
Wait for a while, please.
¡Córrele a tu butaca! ¡Córrele al 28! ¡Córrele a tu butaca! ¡Córrele al 28 Festival Internacional de Cine
Para niños y no tan niños.
¡Córrele del 8 al 13 de agosto!
Apresúrate y consulta cartelera.
Pero córrele para que digamos
¡Corre, película! Pero también me dijo mi abuelita que tenía que buscar el camino para traer los chivos. A jugar o cosas así, pero si no se completan, si es de 3 para abajo, no, por lo menos tienen que ser de 4.
I will stop here. I know there are images that are really so nice. I also wanted to share that in each screening, we made a voiceover, and also after the screening, the kids and the adults made a votation, also impulse citizens that they will responsibility to say that vote for the things that they really love it, and the experience is always wonderful, and I could share that we laugh, we cry, we have a lot of emotions, but even sometimes we feel that we are swimming against the water. I feel that all Children Film Festival are really important, and also the content on the TV for the kids. It's, if necessary, it's, a commitment that we have. We need to still protect and fight for this project. So thank you very much, Rafael. Thank you to all my colleagues, and it was so nice to be this morning and to have the opportunity to talk for a while and to explain about what we are doing here in Mexico.
Thank you, Lisette. And now, joining us from Brazil and representing Com Kids Mediativa are Dr. Daniel Leite and Giovanna Botti. Daniel is the Executive Secretary of Mediativa, a Brazilian media center for children and adolescents. Giovanna is a researcher of identity elements in children's television programs with experience in producing multimedia content for TV, radio, and web in Brazil. Welcome both.
Hello, Rafael. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here. It's such a great opportunity to share a bit of what we do over there in Brazil with all these fantastic professionals that are here, and also showcased their work and share their ideas on the alpha generation use of media and general communication impressions. I'll start the presentations. Please, I think you were seeing that. I'm going to speak first, and then Giovanna will be with us. Conquist Festival exists for 15 years already. It's a children's media film festival. Also, we work also with television and streaming formats and other content, as you will see further on. Our organization is called Brazilian Center on Media for Children and Adolescents. Today we're going to talk more about the alpha generation, especially talking about adolescents, making a special reflection on this theme, as we thought this would be more interesting to present today. As we know, it's a generation that asks lots of questions, that wants not only to consume content, but also they want to interact. They want to have some autonomy in choosing and in doing interaction with the content they consume, and which receive lots of information and lots of content using those devices that are far beyond the capability of the devices that the other generations had. And so there comes problems like screen saturation. It's a problem of nowadays children, and that reminds us of the importance of having education and digital literacy in order to have a good use of media, and to preserve the other experiences also, which are all very important for their development. I must say, the images and that you are seeing here are images from content that participate on Conkids Festival. We are very happy to show them, and thanks to the producers which offered their images for our festival. The content that this generation face are available in a very varied kind of experience, like they are in the living room, not anymore only on television, on the rooms, on their public transportation, everywhere. So the use of media is completely different. We have social media that is a way, yes, it asks for interaction, right? We are talking about adolescents and children that want to interact and that want to choose their own contents in the on-demand entertainment. It's said that these children are savvy with technology, and we ask, yes, they actually are, but do they know how to stop to use it or to make the best choices? I think these are things that media education can help a lot, and media literacy. In Brazil, we still have early consumption raising very much in the early childhood, which is sometimes a problem because screens for too small children are not recommended by many specialists, and unequal access to technology. So the cell phone is the main access device for 97% of users, but it's only one device for 20% of the respondents. In cases of the lower income classes, that proportion is higher. At ComKids, we found that it was important to talk also about the digital and interactive environment. So we're having a competition this year on apps, games, ebooks, and educational and digital projects, multi-platform and transmedia projects, and podcasts also. You are all invited to visit our website and to check on the competition that's going to take place in August. Last year we had in the 11 to 15 years old cinema session. We have, as I told, we have a film competition. We had this kind of issues being tackled within the adolescents category. So we'll see many of the subjects that we've been going through in this conversation, and some others also. But these were kind of the main themes that were in the films. We had like a youth jury at ComKids as well as a children's jury. You are all welcome to visit our YouTube channel and see more of how that process was. It was a really great moment. And I pass on to Giovanna, that's going to take on the presentation. Giovanna, are you there? I think Giovanna
Yes, I am.
Yes, okay.
You can continue to share the presentation for me, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to present the second part of the presentation, especially talking about participation protagonists in ComKids Festival. We see here in the screen is the image on the left side of the slide, the image of one of the protagonists of the Brazilian series Toda Menina Baiana, directed by the filmmaker Cecilia Amado. The series won the Young Jury Award last year, the last edition of ComKids Festival in August. In these programs, I think it's very important to say it's a symbol of protagonists and of kids. It deals with profiles of Brazilian teenagers, girls aged 14 as they turn 15, and it's about indigenous girls, and they won the jury. The kids chose this series as winner. In addition to the protagonist representation on screen and storytelling, this generation activism is also in the radar of Conkids and Mediativa. At the Science Film Festival Brazil, we had an incredible meeting in the last edition with young and teenager activities from the Live Lab network. And in this year, Mediativa also became part of TALI. That's the image you see in the other part of the slides. That's the logo of TALI. TALI is the Council of Boys and Girls in Latin America, created by Rede Tal, the network that brings together public and cultural channels in Latin America. So we are taking part of this council. And two Brazilian children, we represent Mediativa and Conkids in this council. And here we see some contents that have won Conkids Festival. I think it's important to show them, because then they show them two important themes and issues about this generation. We see the theme sexuality, in the animation Animales from Colombia, gender and self-esteem, as in A Menina Atrás do Espelho, Brazilian production, Protagonist in Action from Argentina, Pisando Fuerte from Colombia, and we see also concern with environment issues in Tá Ligado from Brazil. It's about the importance of water preservation, and the series Oracle of Yellow Butterfly, the Brazilian series which addresses themes such as racism, bullying, tolerance, and grief. These are just a few examples of series, films, and TV shows winners at Conkids Festival that bring us closer to big issues of this generation. In Brazil, the topic of media literacy has gained a lot of attention in recent times to combat disinformation, make media literacy as a citizen right. And this includes, of course, children and teens, and it is a global demand. We have some spotlights here from a research, a recent survey from TICS Kids Online Brazil. 58% of teens interviewed said that it was true or very true, that they knew how to check in whether information found on the internet was accurate or not. 76% said that it was true or very true, that they know how to choose the best words to search for something on the internet. But in the other end, 47 users aged 11 to 17 agree that everyone finds the same information when searching for something on the internet. And for 40%, the first result on internet search is always the best source of information. So in fact, we do have a lot of demand for media leaders. And as I said, it's a global demand. Here, would you like to present the other slide, Dan, please? Here, would you like to present how we are in this context in Brazil? We have some events that took place in Brazil, especially since last year. Since last year, we had a digital policy government department created with a special attention to media literacy as a national public policy. Last year, we had our first National Media Education Week, and around 700 professionals, health professionals and teachers, we have media education training, and we have a national Olympiad will be created for Brazilian students too. Also, Brazilian Congress has been debating how to create regulations on digital platforms. So our work is in this context, and we know that audiovisual and created works for teens can contribute to improve this environment for everyone. In Conkids Festival, in addition to competition for creative works aimed to children and teenagers, our festival carries out cultural activities that encourage debates on these topics, education for and through the media. And here bring two examples of creative productions in local context which were winners at Conkids Festivals and which deals with current themes. The game Árida tells the story of survival and the Brazilian backlands, and the ebook Amal and the most important journey of her life. It tells the story of her refugee children. So we believe and work for this, we believe the power of storytelling in the power of creations like this. And I think that's how we work. The last one slide shows and remembers that a new festival is coming. The next Conkids Festival is coming. We have competition, training activities, discussions, and film screenings, and everybody is invited to go to Brazil. The festival Conkids is in August. It was a pleasure to share our experience with you. Thank you. Our contact.
Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you, Daniel. And now I would like to invite here Carol Colmenares, an expert in creating media content with for children with sensory disabilities, and also a member of the DCAPTA team. That is our next guest.
Thank you. Thank you. It is a great honor to be able to introduce our next guest, and I can't see it more fitting. Sorry, am I not in there? It's a very comfortable chair.
Oh, too close.
Even though we're husband and wife. But anyway, I want to introduce you to the DCAPTA team who has been working on the area of accessibility. So we need to be far, I'm sorry. I want to introduce you to Judy Matthews, our accessibility mentor, and Dr. Maria Victoria Diaz, the CEO of DCAPTA. And they have been working on making media, educational media accessible through the US Department of Education. And they have been doing this for a lot of time. And this is really an invitation. I cannot see it more fitting with all these festivals that we have seen, with all of this great content that is being put out there. This is the perfect way to close with Judy Matthews and Maria Victoria and talk about where is the accessibility for children who don't see or can't hear. Judy Matthews, take it away. Judy.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and talk about a topic that is we're so passionate about. I've been working with DCAPTA for about 18 years, and I can't imagine a group of more passionate, dedicated, and committed individuals. And my computer is being weird because that's what happens when you have presentations. But I am here to talk to you a little bit about accessibility. And I know that we have a very diverse audience today with varying experiences and knowledge about accessibility. And laws and regulations vary depending on where you live. But basically, the need for and impact of accessibility is the same no matter where you live, regardless of regulations. It's still the same. So I'd like to invite you for just a moment to close your eyes and imagine that you wake up tomorrow and suddenly find yourself unable to see, hear, or move as you do now. How would your day change? How would you navigate your home, get to work, interact with others. Now, think about someone you know who lives with a disability. And if you don't know someone in this boat, you do now. I am blind and have been since birth. So you can open your eyes now. And it's not something that we often think about, but it's helpful to put ourselves in someone's shoes to really be able to understand. And although it's not the same when you don't live it, you can think about it and think about all the ways that accessibility might benefit someone. How are you going to see your alarm clock if you can't see? How do you know what time it is? How are you going to see your coffee pot? How are you going to know what color your clothes are? And this is just from the point of view of someone who can't see. You know, mobility wise, you know, how are you going to, maybe you have a narrow doorway in your bathroom. How are you going to get in if you use a wheelchair? Things that we don't often think about. And according to the World Health Organization, as of March 2023, an estimated 1.3 billion people, that's 16% of the global population, lives with a disability, a significant disability. And this number is growing, as we know. Another statistic that is flooring to me is that in the United States, the employment rate for working age people with disabilities is about 19.3%. That's the employment rate, not the unemployment rate. 19.3% compared to 66.3% for those without disabilities. Accessibility can help bridge this gap. We have witnessed a big change. Nowadays, people are a lot more open to start a conversation about accessibility, but we still have a ways to go. I'd like to share a definition from Indiana University about accessibility because I really like it. Accessibility is the degree to which a product, device, service, environment, or facility is usable by as many people as possible, including by people with disabilities. So usable by as many people as possible, not just people with disabilities, even though that's the focus. So accessibility creates an inclusive environment, fosters connection, levels the playing field, breaks down barriers, and most of all, it benefits everyone, as that definition stated. So just an example of that or two, automatic door openers. Who hasn't used one of those at one point, whether you have a disability or not? And also the digital assistants like Siri and Google and all the Amazon Echo devices. Those benefit all of us, not just people with disabilities. I know that I want to make sure I'm not over time here. So in order to achieve accessibility, here are just a few things that would go a long way. And we need them. So having an awareness of the need for accessibility, a sincere desire to include everyone. So we know we have laws and regulations and requirements, but when our heart is really in it and we are doing it for the right reason, it's going to be so much better because it's coming from a place of, wanting to include everyone. Willingness to ask questions of those who will benefit and not assume that we know. Having knowledge, and when we don't, ask those questions. And collaboration to address those barriers because they will need to be addressed. And then communicating that the accessibility exists. That's huge. How do we know that the accessibility is there? I just want to share one quick personal example of how accessibility has changed my life. And I'll relate it to media. When I was young, I did not have the benefit of having audio description when I went to movies. I'm Cuban and my parents are Cuban and they don't really speak English. So we would go to the movies. My parents couldn't understand what was happening. I remember going to see Lassie back in the 80s or 90s, and they couldn't understand what was happening because they couldn't understand the language. So here I was trying to interpret, and I was probably like 10 years old, and they were trying to describe what was happening on the screen. So it was definitely a learning experience, and I'm so happy that now regulations state that we have to have audio description in theaters and such. Accessibility, it has changed our lives, and I would like to take a moment to play a video clip. Carol, are we good? I know it's 11.
I think we can take a couple of minutes to show this video. And also, I wanted to ask you, Judy, if you could share that, children with disabilities don't exist in a vacuum, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, children with disabilities are everywhere. And as we talked about, accessibility fosters connection. That's why we need it, because we're not going to the movies by ourselves usually, right? We're going with others because we want to experience it with others alongside our friends and family and loved ones. So it's huge.
It is. We want to share the same content. We want to be able to go with our child with visual impairments or with a hearing impairment, and we want them to share and be in the same room with other children that are hearing and visual. So yes, Judy, please share the video that you've prepared for us.
Okay.
Do you want me to share it from here?
Yes. Could you?
So you're going to do it, Mary Vicky, or oops, sorry. Should I share it, or are you going to? Are you guys able to hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I thought Mary Victoria said she was going to share it. I will. You guys probably can hear my computer talking as well.
We can't hear your computer talking, but it is a great way to let our audience here know that you have your computer talking to you so that you can navigate the screen, because you can't see it, can you?
I cannot, and my computer is being very strange, but I had checked all that stuff to like share sound and all the jazz, and it's not doing it. But here we go. Share sound. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Top ZP toolbar. Task switching. Micro up Spanish 8 Zoom. Desktop. Screen sharing meeting accessibility presentation outline. Alt F4 Microsoft. Don't save.
Now you hear your screen.
Main region.
Okay. Good. That means the sound's working. I apologize for technical difficulties, but as we know, it happens.
Elmo y su padre son monstruos rojos con nariz anaranjada.
Muy bien, ya está. Tu bubu está arreglado.
Gracias, papi. Elmo ya se siente mejor.
Qué bueno, hijo. Me alegra mucho que te sientas mejor. ¿Y sabes qué? Lo que sientes por dentro es igual de importante que lo que sientes por fuera.
Gracias, papi. Siempre escucha a Elmo, le importarán.
Así es.
Los pensamientos de Elmo, sus sentimientos también.
Abby y su mamá son hadas rosadas. Mi mami me escucha.
Siempre lo haré.
Tu mano sostendré con un gesto de amor.
Y comprenderé que
si yo me siento bien o cuando no lo estoy, cuidas bien de mí, aquí estarás.
Oh, sí.
Papi, nena,
siempre estaré ahí.
Cuidas bien de mí, sabes mi pensar y mi sentir.
Me encanta escucharte a ti.
Juntas estamos tú y yo. Wes y su papá son personajes de piel morena.
Papá me escucha y se preocupa por mí.
Siempre lo haré.
Si yo me siento emocionado
o cuando no estás feliz.
Big Beard y su abuela
son
pájaros amarillos.
Que me escucha muy atenta a ti. Un abrazo te daré. Soy más fuerte por ti.
Oye, si yo me me siento bien o cuando no lo estoy, cuidas bien de mí, aquí estás.
Siempre estaré en tu mano, en tu mano, siempre estaré aquí y te cuidaré muy bien.
Estoy, estás aquí.
De tu lado siempre voy a estar.
No estás, siempre estoy junto a ti.
Cuando te sientes bien o no lo estás, yo te cuidaré.
K. Screen sharing meeting.
That video clip, thank you so much. That video clip incorporated audio description, as you might have heard, describing the characters. It included closed captioning and also American Sign Language. So thank you so much for your time. I invite you to think about how you might make accessibility a reality in your space. It's, you know, not, it can be daunting, but we can do it one moment at a time. And DCAPTA would be here to support you if you have any questions, or we can assist with training. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Maria Victoria or Carol will be sharing a document with further resources for you. And I'd like to end with a quote. I'm sorry.
Sorry, doesn't DCAPTA offer workshops and this type of sensibility training for filmmakers and producers who want to learn more about how to integrate caption, audio description, and ASL and other accessibility?
Absolutely. Thank you for elaborating on that's what I meant by training. I'm sorry. I'm like, we don't have time.
We have a little bit of time. It's important.
So yes, and we thank you, Maria Vicky, for sharing that file. We're happy to share it, and we would love to spend some more time getting into the nitty-gritty of what is audio description? How does that work in practicality? How can we make it happen? How does it benefit us, etc. And we're happy to provide these types of workshops for you. So please reach out. And I would like to end with a quote by Judy Heumann, and it is. I can't think of a better way to to wrap up a discussion about accessibility, because our lives are full of technology, right? So for most of us, technology makes things easier. For a person with a disability, it makes things possible. So thank you so much for your time, and please reach out if we can be of further assistance.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. And now I would love to invite Leta for her closing remarks about these 4 fantastic days learning about Generation Alpha.
Should I stand here, or can I join them in the couch? Okay. Truth is, I feel too small now in front of Judy Matthews. Judy Matthews, you were the perfect closure to this series of webinars. You moved us. I feel too small. I feel, I don't feel any kind of pity. On the contrary, I believe that you're so brave that you can make everybody with all their 5 senses being very small in front of you. And I truly congratulate you for your bravery, for your work, for being who you are. And I'm very moved, and I will just close by thanking my colleagues, Carol Colmenares, Rafael Parra, Katerina Tsuknida, Yorgos Gavalos, Anna Kurela, mostly Athina Rikaki, the inspirer of us all, and Xenia Caldara and the Michael Cacoyannis Foundation. Also the European program, the European Union, which co-funded this program, and the Hellenic Ministry of Culture. And just let you know that we will upload in the YouTube all those discussions, all 4 days that have common viewpoints, but also contradictory viewpoints. But I feel that we really made something, and by this last speech, I think that we can make things work, and we can offer the ground for synergies. One thing that comes to mind is that, for instance, the first day we presented INUS, which is a nonprofit organization for children with special needs or disabilities, whatever you want to call it. And also the Greek Film Center presented Cinedu, which is not accessible, however, to children with disabilities, and I believe we should take that into account. And that's the first thing that pops up into my mind. Thank you all so much, and again, thank you so much, Maria Victoria and Judy. That was a perfect, moving closure. Thank you all.